they go in, sometimes they don't, but the way that we grinded this one out, and again, the crowd was great, but really, really, really happy with Jemai Meshack. I thought his minutes were really critical. After every game, one of the biggest thoughts that go through my mind about him is how can I get him in the game, more minutes, because he does so many great things when he's out there. I thought our front line, Uros came off the bench, helped us. Jonas, Tobey, those guys were terrific. And then Josiah's rebounding were big, and plus when we were struggling, I thought his offensive game in the mid-range really helped us get it going. And, you know, you'd like to think if you can make some of those shots around the rim, and again, they're not easy, they're not, but if you can make the ones that you need to make, it opens it up for those perimeter guys, because there's no doubt when, you know, when you're struggling, those shots can take it out of you. It really can. But the way our guys just kept fighting and fighting, and they fought, Auburn fought, but defensively and our rebounding and everyone that played had a role in it.
Rick, what did you see on that final possession when?
I haven't seen it. I really haven't seen it yet. It looked like where I was standing, it was straight up, but, you know, the rule is, like when the call on Santi early, or I think Zakai, you know, anytime you go from point A to point B, it's a foul. Anytime you go from point B to point A, it's a foul, and then there's that neutral area there. I guess in the opinion of the official right there, O stayed vertical, and but I haven't seen it.
Rob, then Mike, then Ryan.
Coach, you talk a lot about your guys not getting hung up on missing shots and just getting lost in the game. Did you feel like today that was a good example of that?
Well, again, because we had some wide open shots, and I actually told Santi one time we came out and executed a play as well as we can execute it, and he had as wide open a look as he's had in a month, and he didn't shoot it and threw it inside, and turned it over, but he was down there. I mean, Santi's man was down there. That's what we've got to get out of. We've got to continue to take our shots, whether they're going in or not. Trust our court balance. Trust the fact that we've got guys that we're going to make the effort to go try to rebound it. But we have got to take open shots. And you go back, and when you break down, and we're in that area where I think we're going to learn from it and keep getting better. Oftentimes when we throw the ball in the post, the people guarding us on the perimeter don't even think about coming down to choke it out. You know, just letting those guys play down there. And we do need our post guys to deliver some of those baskets to make teams adjust to it. And then what happens if players sense it, coaches sense it, when guys are open or not shooting the ball, then the defense say, okay, now we're going to really back up and force you into doing that. So there's a lot of things going on within a game that players have to work through, coaches have to work through, but again, it's February. You look around the country, there's a lot of teams that struggle this time of year, especially in conference play, because you know each other so well. And baskets are hard to come by, but I'm sure Bruce will look at his tape and think, hey, you know, we got the shot we wanted, we didn't make it. We'll certainly do the same thing. It's a player's game, always has been, always will be, and we just got to continue to try to improve on the things that we need to improve on.
Rick, you referenced Tobey and Jemai. What were the things that you got out of them today that were so significant?
Just their effort, their competitive spirit. I mean, they come in the game, they're flying around, just their pursuit of the basketball. And then defensively, again, Tobey is getting better and better on the perimeter, learning how to guard. Offensively, you know, some of those passes that go in there are tough to handle in traffic, but he'll get better with that. But just the tenacity to go rebound the basketball, and both of them bring a sense of physicality. And in a game like this, if you're not playing, and I think Bruce would probably say the same thing, if you're not locked in on the defensive end, it's not a game for you, because both teams were being physical and working hard on that end.
You just touched on it a little bit, but how would you describe the physicality in this game?
I think that's what you expect this time of year. I do. I think you expect it within our league. I don't think there's a more physical league in the country than this league, and especially with coaches that have coached against each other for a while. You know, there's not a lot of secrets. You know, I mean, coaches are always going to try to get guys going and hope you can. If not, you got to move on to somewhere else. But it's a hard fought. It really was. I thought after we didn't start very well, obviously, because I think O missed 4 or 5 straight shots in there, and and I give it to his teammates because, you know what, the one thing they said, they wanted to be able to play inside out. They didn't get frustrated with it. They showed confidence, and they threw the ball back in there with him. And then after that first 10 points, we really, our defense was good, and we just, again, that's who we are, and you'd like to, both of us, I think both coaches will love to see us score points, but both teams have struggled at times this year, like a lot of other teams in this league, to score baskets.
Coach, in a game where every possession matters, to have a guy like Josiah, a veteran guy, go out there and get 14 rebounds, just what does that do for the rest of the team? And knowing every possession matters and got to get those second chances.
Well, it's what we talk about as much as anything about how can you impact winning when you're not shooting the ball well. You can always impact it on the defensive end. You can always impact it by rebounding the ball the way he does. You can impact it by getting second shots. And that's what he does. You know, and again, I thought when we were like throughout the whole game, I mean, some of his mid-range plays were huge plays where I thought he went inside and jumped up and made a couple shots, and it certainly kept us in the game. But it was with his experience, we expect him to find a way to impact winning, which he does obviously most of the time.
Broome had 6 quick points and had 5 the rest of the 35 minutes. I guess just what changed defensively for you all to kind of slow him down after a fast start?
Well, I like to think the fact that we kept throwing bodies in there, you know, and he's a really good player, you know, he really is. He can do some stuff around the rim, score the ball, but I think the bigger lineup was more effective today. The length in there was important. I think it's the first time all year that at one time we had Josiah out there with Julian in a bigger lineup. But overall, when I think about our post defense and our length, I mean, it's hard to score around the rim. It's hard I mean, they got a shot blocker. They got guys that can play above the rim. But I do think, I mean, both teams were trying to get it close to the basket to get fouled or try to score because it didn't seem like any team could make a shot from the perimeter throughout the game. And I'm proud of our post guys because it's not an easy team to defend.
Kind of going off that back here, Coach, in the back
Yeah.
here. After the Florida game, you said that your post players have to do a better job of cutting off angles when they played Colin Castleton. How did you feel they did that against Broome tonight?
I thought that we were much more locked in with our post guys defensively there. I thought that, you know, tendencies start coming in, but we knew how we wanted to play Colin Castleton, and we didn't do it. And we were too undisciplined reaching. I don't think we reached tonight in the post very much. I thought we stayed down for the most part. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but again, our post guys had their work cut out for them tonight, and they battled.
Rick, after this week with kind of the 2 offensive performances, how do you feel about where this team is at offensively, and how do you summarize winning and losing the games that you did?
You know what? Tom sent me a stat, analytic, where, what was the stat? 75% of our shots, 70% of our shots were high percentage shots against Florida, and we made, what, 20-some% of them? 20-some% of them. That's
That was with the shots that we took.
with the shots we took.
70% of them.
But the shots that we should make, you know, we didn't make. And again, I think you guys would agree. I think our players would agree. We have some shots tonight we need to make. But when it's not, again, I'm really proud of our guys for staying locked in defensively. And again, I think the bench helped us because we were able to get guys some rest because every possession, as mentioned, is a tough one. But I just know that if we'll, again, keep going, get some of those shots to go down, it can give us a chance to get loose and I think settle in. But we're going to be in games like this, whether both teams score in the 60s, possession games, and we just got to be able to make the majority of those high percentage shots that we can make.
Reese, to finish up with Greg.
You talked a little bit about Tobey. What have you seen from his development? And I've seen you ride him hard in practice. So what have you seen from his development that made him come out in this game and perform?
Well, I would say to you, what you see him do, he's one of those guys that does it every day in practice. He really works at it. He really works at it. He's got a great ability to go rebound the ball, but where he's gotten better is understanding the urgency of being able to do a lot more on the basketball court than he's probably ever been asked to do. And he's really starting to understand the game, and he's going to battle. He's going to fight for his position, and he's learning how to do that on the defensive end as well. But I think there are guys would tell you that when he's out there, they know that he's going to bring some physicality and do whatever he has to do to get guys open, and he can duck in. He can score the ball. He can, and he had a couple of offensive rebounds today that were big.
What do you need from Zakai to get back to the production that he had the last 3 or 4 weeks?
Well, again, as the season goes on, people will game plan. What will help him as much as anything if he can get some people around him scoring some baskets. That'll help him as much as anything, where when guys are open, they shoot their shots, and when he throws it inside, guys can finish some of those where you make people adjust. I mean, obviously, he has the ball in his hand a lot, and we trust him with it, and he's gotten so much better there. But we just need the balance that we know that we can get, but we got to get it. And you guys have often asked me what I think we got to do to get better, and the one word it comes down to is consistency. What can we look for every night and expect? You know, I certainly don't expect Zakai to go 0 for 10 or 0 for 7. He had 9 assists, 3 turnovers, and 2 of them he was trying to put the ball inside there. But again, we got guys, and I just have confidence in them. We're going to find a way to work our way out of this. I really believe that.
Thank you, Coach.
Great, thank you, guys.
Joe, what's it like to be part of that game where shots aren't falling on either side, but also come out with a win in that kind of game?
I mean, I think you have to have a game like that shows a lot of character, how you respond when you're not making shots, and I feel like we responded really well on the defensive end, unlike we did against Florida when shots weren't falling. I think we learned a lot from that game. Many lessons were learned, and I'm glad we responded the way we did today. But a game like this shows a lot of character. How do you react when things aren't going your way offensively?
Why was this different than Florida? I mean, what are those lessons that you learned?
Yeah, just being able, like I said, like I've always said, we think we're the best defensive team in the country. Whether shots are falling, whether we're scoring or not, and we always have to be able to rely on our defense. And on Wednesday when we played them, we weren't that team, and so we sat down in the film room. We had to look ourselves in the mirror individually and collectively as a team and learn from our mistakes, and I feel like we did.
Just like you've always been a good rebounder for your position, for your size, but grabbing 14 in a game like that, was there some point in the game where you kind of realized that you were going to have to take that upon you because of the way it was flowing?
I knew coming in that was what I was going to be called to do. That was what my position needed, and that's what my team needed for us to get a win. And so just, you know, I had a talk with GP the other day just talking about being more physical on the offensive glass, on the defensive glass, and using the body that God's given me to my strength. And so I think that my mindset going into the game and my mindset in practice has been that, and it has to keep being that moving forward.
Ryan and David?
How would you describe the emotion and physicality of that game?
It was a lot of emotion and definitely a lot of physicality. But we knew that was going to be the case. It's always the case when we play them, and it's usually the case when we play throughout the SEC. But this one especially, they've got athletic guys, big guys who don't back down from a challenge. And I feel like we're the same way. And so it's always fun when we get to match up against those guys.
Josiah, are you surprised you haven't played more single possession games this season? And what can you take away from these? How are these different as far as taking away from other games that you play?
I mean, basketball is weird. You know, I can't say that I'm surprised that we haven't been in more games like this, but it's definitely beneficial for us down the road. I feel like every game is beneficial, but the ones where It's 1-2 possession, 3 possession games are really big, and we have a lot to learn. And I think that it's a fine line between winning and losing, and you saw that today. 1 possession here, 1 possession there is a difference in a game. And so we just have to, Coach always preaches that every possession matters, both offensively and defensively, and that was proven today.
Josiah, how do you all stay bought in, like when shots aren't going down for a 40-minute game, but to stay locked in on the defensive end? What are the challenges that kind of go behind, not making shots, but also, playing as well as you did on defense?
Well, our biggest thing is we like to give each other confidence. Anytime I miss a shot today, Santi, Zakai, whoever was out on the floor, keep shooting. The next one's going to fall. Don't get hesitant. And vice versa with whoever shot may not be falling. Like Olivier, he missed a couple early ones, but we kept giving him the ball. We stay confident in each other because we know that the work that we put in, we know the capabilities and the talent that we have on the offensive end. And I think just defensively, that's our DNA. Like I said, we have high character guys, and your character shows when things aren't going your way and, shots aren't falling. So I was really proud of the way we responded today defensively.
Coach Barnes said that they expect you to make some of those mid-range jumpers to kind of settle the guys down when those shots aren't falling. What makes you that guy for this coaching staff?
I would just credit my preparation, credit the work that I put in before practice, after practice, whether it's making shots around the perimeter or just doing form shooting. I feel like I can get to my spot. My teammates have given me the ultimate confidence to, when I get the ball within the arc to go raise up above defenders. And so it's just a confidence thing that I have in myself and that my teammates give me.
Josiah back here. What about Tobey? Does a physical style game fit his style of play?
Everything about Tobey is physical. The way he walks, the way he talks, like he's just a physical human being. He's a big dude, and like I was telling the guys on the court, I've never been around somebody who just, I think he should have played football. I'm really surprised that he didn't, but he's a smart guy. He doesn't want the head injuries and things like that, but he brought everything I think like a football player would do, and brought that to the game of basketball. And his play style is physicality, and that's what we need from him. And he brings an enforcer type guy like Urosh does, where we know that Tobey one-on-one, we're taking Tobey every day of the week just because of the way he practices. He's always going to put his body on the line. He's always going to give 100%, and that's what we need out of everybody, but especially Tobey.
Josiah, when y'all go and watch, I know every game's its own kind of game, but when y'all go watch games on tape and games you've shot well and games you haven't, is it usually just missed shots that are the difference, or are there other things that lead to that?
Wait, one more time. My bad. I ain't
No, like when you're watching games of when y'all play well offensively and when you don't, is just making or missing shots the only difference, or are there things that sort of lead to those performances other than missed shots?
Yeah, sometimes that's the case, but more often than not, some of the games throughout the year where we started off slow is we were trying to play outside in, not getting an inside presence, and that's where we tried to correct our mistakes on offense, starting the game off early, playing inside out, and playing inside out throughout the game. But sometimes it is just, missed shots, but more often than not, we make the mistake of trying to get shots early, playing outside in.
Josiah, what did Jemai give you guys today, and how have you guys kept encouraging him to kind of get back to maybe some of those things he was doing earlier in the year?
Yeah, Jemai's a dog. He gives us so much on the defensive end. He's still coming into his own on the offensive end. And one thing that we like to do, like I said, with anybody, whether they're making shots, missing shots, you're going to shoot the ball. And if not, you're going to hear about it. And, he's been trying to find his role, but one thing that us players have been preaching to him is that we need him to take open shots, because our offense starts when the ball hits the rim. We're going to go get it on the offensive glass. That's what we're taught to do. That's our offense. And so whether he makes it, whether he misses it, we're definitely just trying to give him the most confidence possible. And he's a terrific player defensively, and I definitely think he has the capabilities, and he's showing his offensive side of the game as well now. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
Santi, that three-pointer you made with the foul, just kind of what's going through your mind there when you're watching that ball fall?
To be honest, I didn't see a fall. I was already on the ground when it went in, so I guessed by the way everybody yelled. But in that play, to be honest, it's just you can't think at that point. It's a thing that if you're missing, you got to stay confident. I'm confident all of my teammates taking any shot, and I know they're confident in me. And even coach told me, like, just keep shooting. They're going to fall at some point. And that's the thing you can't lose as a shooter is confidence. And any open look that you can get, you got to shoot it. And lucky for us, that one went in, even with a foul.
Santi, Josiah kind of talked about it, but why were you guys today able to keep the defensive intensity up compared to how you weren't at Florida when the shots weren't falling?
I think as a team, we did a great job just guarding, putting everything on the line. We knew how big of a game it was for us, especially as a bounce back game. And I heard Joe earlier talking about it. It shows a lot of character from the whole team. I think that's what the team showed tonight or today, that even if shots aren't going in, we're not going to give up. We're going to still keep playing. And I think overall it's just a poor shooting night for both of the teams. Yeah, just stay on the game, stay locked in and give everything, and we never gave up.
There was a play pretty early in the game where Tobe got a rebound, got fouled, and kind of came up jawing at the guy who fouled him. He obviously doesn't show a lot of emotion typically. What was it like seeing that from him early in the game?
To be honest, we're so into the game that I can't even remember that one. But, so you say he got a rebound?
Yeah, I got fouled, and he kind of started jawing, talking at the guy who fouled him in front of the Tennessee bench. Yeah, we typically don't see him talking to the other team.
Well,
showing that emotion.
yeah. No, I don't know what you're talking about. I think that shows even more character, especially him as a freshman. He's a very quiet guy, but he's not going to let nobody step on top of him. And, yeah, as a player, you always get those moments where you just get sick of other people beating you up. And especially for him, he's done a great job down there in the paint. There's most of the times you guys don't see it, but we know we can throw a shot up, and he's going to go get it. He's battling 24/7 every night. And, yeah, like, good for him that he stood up, and he was, like, not going to let that just step over him. So I think it shows a lot of character from him.
Santiago, I guess last year you had a similar type game against Texas Tech where the shots just weren't falling, but there were 88 missed shots today. As a shooter, what's that like to go through a game like this?
To be honest, we have a lot of confidence in our defense. We know even if we're not making shots, that's something coach says all the time. We're confident that if we play defense and we rebound the ball, that's where our main focus is. We're going to be able to create enough points to win a game. So as a shooter, you just have a short-term memory. You can't be thinking about all the shots that you missed, or if you went 0 for 5, 0 for 6, or whatever you went for. You just can't be thinking about that. You got to think about the next shot and think that it's going to go in. Because if not, then you just get in a hole. I had that conversation with a couple of our guys. You just can't be thinking back to that. You got to think about the next shot, and if you open, you have to take it. We all expect you to take it. They all expect me to take it. So that's what we have to do every time we're open.
To say about Josiah in a game like this to get 15 and 14 for him to just play that huge of a role?
I mean, he does everything. I love being with Joe on the court. I think he's a guy that his IQ, most of the people don't see it either, but his IQ is really, really high. I feel really confident when he's on the floor. Just, especially first of all on defense with him. I think when he's in the court with all the guys, we have a great connection. We can talk, and he's a smart guy. Even on switches or whatever it might be, he's going to fix the play. And then I'm glad for him that today the ball went in. He made a lot of shots, and then he's a big dude. You can see him. And then he's going to fight every time down on the board, and he did a great job tonight coming out with those boards. I think it was big for us in the game.
Santi in the back here. I think at the 11-minute mark, you were starting to play point guard. I know you played a little bit point guard when you first got here, but how much have you played point guard this season, and how much have you actually practiced it since you first got here?
Not so much. I've been more of a shooting guard. Kind of my time here in Tennessee, I kind of developed more into a shooting guard than a point guard. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not. I don't think it's a big deal. Tyreek kind of twisted his ankle last practice, so I did go in a little bit as a point guard. We're doing 5-on-5, and then we're doing one rep with Z, and I was taking the other rep as a point guard, so I kind of got a little more of a feel of what it is. And I'm really confident, even if I'm not the point guard, if I'm the shooting guard, I'm really confident in Tyreek, Sakai, or even Josiah brought the ball up today. I think it was great for us. He just waved me, told me, just go, I got it. And I think that's great. Having the possibility to have all the other guys, even the big man, just to get the rebound and bring the ball up, it's going to make us even more lethal.
Anything else for Santi? Finish up with Wes.
Santi, y'all have played some games like this the past couple of years. Obviously, there were 3 or 4 of them last year. There were a few this year, and y'all have lost most of those games. And nice is it to win one of these, one of these games like in the 50s or 40s and sort of gut one out.
What was the question?
Just in terms of how y'all played a lot of games like this, a few games the last few years, games in the 50s and the 40s. A lot of those were tough losses. To win one like this, how big is that for this team to sort of get past that?
It's definitely a big win. It shows how much character we can have, and just we got to keep pushing even if we don't make the ball. So, like I said earlier, it's just like what Joe said. It shows a lot of character from our team.
All right, Santi, thank you very much.
Thank you.